You've seen the headlines. Trump's $2,000 checks. Confirmed, approved, money on the way. Your feed is flooded with videos promising payments are coming. But here's what nobody's telling you. The real story isn't about whether these checks exist. It's about something far more important that affects your wallet right now, whether any check ever arrives or not. I'm going to show you the actual Truth Social post that started this wildfire, break down the numbers the government doesn't want highlighted, and reveal what's really happening with your money. Because buried in this story is a financial reality most Americans don't realize, and it explains why you're feeling poorer even when the economy looks good on paper. Stick with me, because what I'm about to show you in the middle of this video will change how you see every economic headline from now on. Let's start with what happened. Let's look at exactly what happened. On his Truth Social account, President Trump wrote, "A dividend of at least $2,000 per person, not including high-income people, will be paid to everyone." He called it a reward from tariff money, taxes on imported goods coming into America. Within hours, this single post exploded across the internet. YouTube videos claimed checks were confirmed. Social media said applications were open. But here's the reality. There's no bill in Congress, no Treasury Department announcement, no official government document backing this up. It was a statement, not a signed law. Now, let's compare this to something you might remember. Back in 2020, during the pandemic, the government sent out stimulus checks. Those were different. Congress voted on them. The president signed actual legislation. Money hit bank accounts because it was law. This situation, it's not the same. Not yet, anyway. White House officials later clarified there's no formal plan being sent to Congress right now. No rollout date has been set. No funding source has been confirmed through official channels. So why did this statement gain so much attention? Timing. Right now, Americans are dealing with rising grocery prices, cuts to SNAP benefits, and economic pressure. When people are struggling, any mention of financial help catches fire instantly. It gives hope. And that hope spreads faster than the facts can keep up. The key thing to understand is this. What Trump posted is a proposal, an idea. For it to become real money in your account, Congress would need to write a bill, vote on it, and the president would need to sign it into law. That process hasn't started. So while the idea is out there, the actual checks are not confirmed, approved, or on their way. That's the honest truth of where things stand today. Now let's talk about the money itself, because this is where things get really important for your wallet. Trump says these payments would come from tariff revenue. So what are tariffs? Simple. They're taxes the government charges on products imported from other countries, things like electronics, clothes, cars, and food items. According to the Treasury Department, tariffs have brought in about $195 billion so far this year. That sounds like a lot of money, but here's the math problem. If every American earning under $100,000 received $2,000, that would cost approximately $300 billion. If children and dependents were included, the total could jump to $500 billion or more. You see the gap? The government has collected $195 billion, but would need $300 to $500 billion to send these checks. The money simply isn't there right now. But there's something even more important you need to understand about tariffs, and this is the part most videos won't tell you. When the government charges these import taxes, the companies don't just absorb that cost. They pass it directly to you, the customer. Think about your last grocery trip. Maybe you noticed chicken costs more, or your favorite coffee brand went up in price. Part of that increase comes from these tariffs. When you filled up your gas tank, bought a new appliance, or replaced your phone, you've already been paying these tariff costs through higher prices at the register. So here's the reality. If you did receive a $2,000 check from tariff revenue, it wouldn't actually be new money. It would essentially be giving you back some of what you've already spent through higher prices over the past year. Depending on how much prices have risen in your area, you may have already paid more than $2,000 in increased costs. That's the hidden truth about where this money really comes from. Now, there's another major issue we need to discuss, the legal question. Can the president even use tariff money this way? Right now, the Supreme Court is reviewing that exact question. Here's what's happening. A lower court ruled that President Trump overstepped his authority when he expanded tariffs using emergency powers. The case centers on a law called the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEPA for short. This law was created to let presidents act quickly during true national emergencies, like war or terrorist attacks. But critics argue that trade disputes aren't real emergencies. They say the president is using emergency powers for something Congress should control, essentially giving one person authority over the entire U.S. tariff system. That's a lot of power for one office to hold. So what happens next? The Supreme Court has three basic options. First, they could side with Trump. This would mean tariffs continue as they are and the revenue keeps coming in. In theory, dividend payments could become possible. Second, they could rule against Trump. This would be significant. The entire tariff structure could be struck down. If that happens, there would be no tariff revenue at all, meaning no money for any $2,000 checks. The government might even have to refund billions already collected under these tariffs. Third, they could issue a partial ruling, some middle ground that changes how tariffs work going forward. We don't know when the Supreme Court will decide, but this case is moving through the system right now. And here's the bottom line. Until this legal question is settled, any talk of tariff dividends is built on uncertain ground. Even if the money existed and the math worked out, the legal authority to distribute it this way is still being challenged in the highest court in the land. Here's something important that most videos completely skip over. Even with all these legal questions, Congress could still make this happen if they wanted to. Let me explain how. Congress controls the federal budget. They have the constitutional power to decide how government money is spent. So even if the Supreme Court rules against the president's tariff authority, Congress could pass a law creating these $2,000 payments. They could fund it through tariffs, general tax revenue, or any other source they choose. But here's the key question. Has anyone in Congress actually proposed this? As of right now, no formal bill has been introduced for $2,000 tariff dividend payments. No committee hearings have been scheduled. No bipartisan group of senators or representatives has announced support for this specific plan. It's simply an idea floating in the public conversation, not an active piece of legislation. For this to become reality through Congress, here's what would need to happen. First, a representative or senator would need to write and introduce a bill. Second, the bill would go to committee for review. Third, both the House and Senate would need to vote and pass it. Fourth, it would go to the president's desk for signature. That entire process typically takes months, sometimes years, especially for something that costs hundreds of billions of dollars. Could it happen? Technically, yes. Congress has passed similar economic relief bills before, like the 2020 stimulus checks. But those came during a declared pandemic emergency with broad bipartisan support. The realistic timeline? If Congress started working on this today with serious momentum, you'd be looking at several months at minimum before any checks could be sent out. And right now, there's no indication that process has even begun. That's the honest assessment of where things stand legislatively. Now let's talk about why you're seeing this story everywhere, even though it's not actually happening yet. This is important because it'll help you spot misleading claims in the future. Once Trump made that Truth Social post, something interesting happened. Content creators on YouTube and social media took that single statement and built entire videos around it. Some added graphics that looked like official government announcements. Others created countdown timers suggesting checks would arrive in days. Many used thumbnails with flashing text saying confirmed or approved, making it look like official news. Here's how these videos work. They mix real information with dramatic presentation. They'll show Trump's actual quote, then add urgent music, official-looking graphics, and language that makes it sound like money is already being processed. It looks professional, it sounds believable, and it hits at exactly the moment when people are looking for good news about their finances. Why does this spread so fast? Because it taps into real feelings. frustration with rising costs, exhaustion from financial stress, and hope that maybe someone in Washington is finally listening. When you're struggling to make ends meet, a video promising $2,000 feels like the answer you've been waiting for. So how can you spot misleading claims? Here are 3 simple checks. First, look for a government source. Real payments will be announced on official websites ending in .gov, like treasury.gov or irs.gov. Second, check multiple mainstream news outlets. If it's real, CNN, Fox News, your local news, and newspapers will all be covering it. Third, be skeptical of urgency. Real government programs give you plenty of time and clear instructions. If a video says, "Act now," or "Only 48 hours left," that's a red flag. Remember, if something sounds too good to be true and you can't find it on an official government website, it probably hasn't been approved yet. Let's shift gears and talk about financial help that actually exists right now. Programs you can access today, not maybes or possibilities. First, SNAP benefits, what used to be called food stamps. Yes, there have been some cuts recently, but SNAP is still operating and helping millions of Americans buy groceries. If you're struggling with food costs, you can apply through your state's social services website. Eligibility depends on your income and household size, but many people over 50 qualify and don't realize it. Second, the Earned Income Tax Credit for your 2024 taxes. If you worked last year and earned below certain income thresholds, you could receive money back when you file your tax return this year. Even retirees who did part-time work may qualify. This is real money that's already authorized by law. Third, many states have their own assistance programs. Some states are sending out property tax rebates, utility assistance, or cost of living payments. These vary by state, so check your state's official website or call your local social services office. Fourth, Medicare programs for those 65 and older. There are programs that help cover prescription costs, and you might qualify for assistance you're not currently receiving. Where can you find legitimate information about all these programs? Start with benefits.gov. That's the official government website that lists every federal benefit program. You can answer a few questions and it'll show you what you might qualify for. Your local area agency on aging is another excellent resource if you're over 60. They can connect you with meal programs, transportation help, and financial assistance programs specifically for seniors. The key point is this: don't wait for promised checks that may never come. Real help exists right now, and it's already approved and funded. You just need to know where to look. So let's bring this all together and answer the big question. If the government ever did send out $2,000 checks from tariffs, would that actually help the average American? Here's my honest take. In the short term, yes. $2,000 in your bank account would feel good. It could help pay bills, catch up on expenses, or provide some breathing room. Anyone would appreciate that money. But here's the reality we discussed earlier. You've likely already paid more than $2,000 through higher prices caused by these same tariffs. Your grocery bill went up, gas costs more, everyday items are more expensive. So that $2,000 check wouldn't really be help from the government. It would be getting back some of what you already spent. Think of it like this. Imagine someone takes $20 out of your wallet every week for a year. That's over $1,000. Then at the end of the year, they hand you $500 and call it a gift. You'd realize you're still down $500, right? That's essentially what's happening here with tariffs and these proposed dividend checks. Real economic relief requires real policy changes, not just recycling money through tariffs and payments. It means addressing why prices are rising in the first place, why healthcare costs so much, why housing is increasingly unaffordable. Now, does this mean you should ignore future announcements about payments? No. But it does mean you should verify before getting your hopes up. Before you share the next viral claim about checks coming, ask yourself, where's the official government source? Has Congress actually voted on this? Is this on a .gov website? The truth might not be as exciting as a viral video with flashing thumbnails, but it's what you deserve. and understanding how these things really work protects you from disappointment and helps you focus on assistance programs that actually exist today. Let me leave you with the key takeaways from everything we've discussed today. First, no $2,000 checks have been approved or confirmed. What exists is a statement from President Trump on social media, not a law, not a program, and not money on the way to your bank account. Second, even if this idea moved forward, there are serious obstacles. The math doesn't work with current tariff revenue. The Supreme Court is questioning whether these tariffs are even legal, and Congress hasn't introduced any bill to make this happen. Third, and most importantly, those tariff revenues aren't free money. They come from higher prices you're already paying every time you shop. So any dividend would largely be returning money you've already spent. But here's what you can do right now. Don't wait for promised checks that may never arrive. Visit benefits.gov to see what assistance programs you actually qualify for today. Check if you're eligible for SNAP, tax credits, or state programs. That's real help you can access immediately. Before you share the next viral video claiming payments are confirmed, take 30 seconds to verify. Look for official government sources. Check multiple legitimate news outlets. Protect yourself and your friends from misinformation. If this video helped you understand what's really going on, please subscribe to this channel. I'm committed to giving you facts without the hype, just honest information you can trust. Drop a comment below and let me know. Would you rather receive a one-time $2,000 check or see permanent policies that lower your everyday costs? I'm curious what matters most to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll continue cutting through the headlines to give you the truth.